Yo, 2014 Buick Enclave. I took the tire off to get a good look at this because it's got a little power steering leak. It's a little wet. I let it run and run and run and run, and I can't see anything leaking out of this thing. So I'm going to get upstairs here, and I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to lock and start the car. It should force a whole bunch of pressure through the system. I think I found it. I'm gonna take off these clippy things, get a long bungee cord and pull this out of the way. I made some makeshift belt routing. Got a 1/2-inch square on this tensioner. I'll be turning my ratchet to on instead of off. Unload that all the way. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. It seems like a pretty nice weak spring on that thing. I can just leave that ratchet on there, take it off the power steering. I got an oxygen sensor. I'm going to disconnect it because I think it might be in the way when I take this power steering pump out. There's a little child-proof connector on here. I want to try to rip that thing out. Then I can unplug it like so. And I got to disconnect it from this metal heat shield. The back looks like that. Now I have to remove this heat shield. This is where that oxygen sensor was stabbed into. There's two 10mm on this heat shield. One of them's right here. I just have a ratcheting swivel ratchet to get these off. There's a second bolt buried under this catalytic converter that you can't really see, but it's easy enough to feel around and get at it. That heat shield is loose. I should be able to slide it out of here somehow. That should give me enough room to get that power steering pump out. This is where things might get a little messy. I got a 10mm on that return hose. I got that bolt out. Now I can just pry this out, and it should make a big mess. Fair warning, take this oil fill cap off. You can pull this thing up. Here's your power steering reservoir. When you take this cap off, it can get real messy. That fluid will just start flying right out of there. I got a 16mm on my high pressure line. That'd be a 5/8 for all you standard guys. I can get my arm up through the back and have enough room to get this out with a regular wrench. I loosen it up, I should be able to unscrew it by hand. I have a fairly long extension and a 15mm swivel socket. I can take this power steering bolt off. Now looking at the top of the car, I can see the return line is right here. The high pressure line is right here. And there's a bracket back here, and I can feel it. There's a 10mm that I can't see, but I can feel it over here on the side. For a bracket for this line, it keeps this line from moving, so I can't pull it out of the pump. I could unbolt that and be able to do that, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm just going to leave all this bolted in, and then when I put the new pump in, I just got to squirrel it up into this line and then start the nut before I go bolting it all up tight. Things are going to get messy taking this power steering pump out, so I'm just going to spin this pulley and try to drain as much of this out as I can. Now I'm underneath the car. I need to get at that bolt right there. I got my 3-foot extension and my 15mm. I can stick that up here somehow and get at it and take that off. Now that I got that bolt out, I can find exciting ways to turn and squirrel this power steering pump out over the rack and pinion, and it's got to go out through the back. And there's not a whole lot of room. Try to give you the best view I can to get this thing out of here. I got a power steering pump puller here. If you need one of these and you don't have one, you can probably rent one from a parts store. The victim gave me a remanufactured pump that doesn't have a pulley on it. He said he couldn't find a new one, probably because every Enclave and Acadia and Chevy Traverse is puking power steering fluid all over the countryside. So I got to get this thing off. In my case, I'm using a 1" and a 13mm. I can probably do this by hand, but I don't want to work that hard. Don't void your warranty. Always blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. I don't have any faith in these remans anyways. This thing screws into here like so. Oh, this one's too long. I got the shorter one here. Wow, this is an 11mm. That'd be a 7/16 for all you standard guys. I just need to screw this down like so. I don't want to screw this down too far, so I'm kind of looking at the depth. I can see how much space there is here. If I'm right, it should be pretty much flush with that. That looks pretty good. Now, one thing you got to be concerned about with these cheap remanufactured parts is the fact that there can't be any paint on any of the sealing surfaces, because these guys love paint. Well, I'm going to take these caps off and take a good look at all this stuff. Make sure these threads aren't all boogered up or anything. Make sure the sealing surfaces aren't all boogered up, because they love running this stuff through tumblers and bead blasters and God, whatever else. Looks like they didn't mess up that sealing surface with paint too bad. In the box, there's a couple of O-rings. Of course, this one goes on the high pressure line and this one goes on the return line. I'm going to put those on now and I'm going to snake this pump in. I think this high pressure one is the only one I'm concerned about right now, and the low pressure one I'll put in after I get the pump in. So I can just get a pick after this thing and pop this thing out. And in with the new. These O-rings should be well lubricated too. Since there's power steering fluid all over the place, it's already well lubricated. Okay, I tried to jam that pump up there kind of the same way I took it out. This high pressure line, I gotta stab in that hole before I start anything else. I got that one bolt started. Now I'm going to try and start that high pressure line. I think I got it. Now that I got that line started really good, I'm going to put the other bolt on the back of this. And I'm going to tighten both of these down. If you would like to use a torque wrench on these two bolts, you want to tighten them down to 37 foot-pounds. As far as this nut goes, you can't really use a torque wrench on it, so just get it good and tight. Then I can put the new O-ring on this. Put a little power steering fluid on that O-ring. There it goes. Give it a little wiggle and make sure it goes in there nice and square. I think I got that one started. If you care about a torque on this, it's a 6x1mm, so I'd be doing it at about 8 foot-pounds. I'm just going to put it on by hand. I put that heat shield and the wheel and the belt back on. The tire gets tightened to 140 foot-pounds if you care about that. Now I'm going to fill this all the way to the top because it's empty. You just got to kind of keep an eye on it. Make sure I don't overfill it and make a big mess. It's filled to the top. Put this cap back on it. Now I got to try to bleed the air out of the system. Now what I'm going to do to bleed this out is I'm going to start the car and I'm going to turn it all the way to lock, and I'm going to hold it there and then turn the key off. Hear it all moaning and droning. That's because when you turn it all the way to lock, you're producing the highest power steering pressure that you can. And then I can hold it there for about 10 seconds. and that'll help bleed all the air up into the reservoir. Then I'll let go and I'm going to check the fluid. I left it sit for about a minute. It was right at the minimum line. I'm going to do this again. Hold it. Turn the key off. Hold it. It's already gotten a lot quieter. That should be bled out. Sounds nice and quiet. Power steering works good. I just got to make sure it doesn't leak at all. And if you do hear any noises from cavitation from the air, just give it time and it'll come out. There's a min and a max line on this dipstick. You just screw it all the way in and check it. When it's not running, I'm just above the min, so I could add just a little bit. And I got deck 6 here, that's what I'm using. You know, looks like I got about 3/4 of a quart filled this thing up. I just need to put this top cover on and call it a job. Okay, bye.